Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, delay in case against the brothers accused of killing uncle. The case against the two brothers charged with murder in relation to the death of their uncle is being hampered by the delayed release of the autopsy findings. 29-year-old Ricardo Romes and Shane Samuels were charged after the killing last December of 55-year-old Bensley Vance. They are being represented by attorney-at-law Suwayne Phillips and Adrian Days, respectively. When the matter came before the St. James Parish Court recently, the clerk informed the court that the post-mortem report was still outstanding. The document, which will indicate the cause of death, is considered critical to the case. As a result of the outstanding report, Presiding Judge Keisha Grant Price set the matter aforementioned on July 18. Samuel's bail was extended and Romes remanded in custody until that date. The incident is said to have taken place in Rose Heights, St. James, around 2 a.m. on December 26, 2023. It is alleged that during a family dispute, Samuels hurled a building block at Vance, striking him in his head, while Romes is accused of brandishing a knife and fatally stabbing their uncle. The police were summoned and Vance was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The brothers were subsequently arrested and charged. Barrels hit on agricultural sector could spark a food shortage. The island's agricultural sector took a significant hit with last week's passage of Hurricane Beryl. The Ministry of Agriculture has reported significant damage to several facilities and agricultural projects across the island, including the Grace Foods Agro-Processors facility in St. Elizabeth, which had to be closed due to extensive infrastructure damage. The area of St. Elizabeth is still being assessed, but communication issues have delayed the relay of information, a ministry statement read. The Essex Valley Agriculture Development Project's solar system sustained the damage, with approximately 3% of the solar panels affected and the fencing and the light poles down, it added. While efforts to reach Lenworth Fulton, the president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, proved futile, Glendon Harris, the president of the St. James branch of the JAS, told the news that based on footage of devastation he has seen in St. Elizabeth and the neighboring Manchester, which is steadily emerging as a premier food-producing area, there could be a shortage of certain food items. We are going to see a shortage of some of our basic food items. Many greenhouses have been destroyed, and the overall picture does not look good for this sector, said Harris. He wants the government to move quickly to assess the sector, especially in the St. Elizabeth-Manchester region, which is key in the nation's food security. I would like to see the government step up right now and do all they can to help the farmers cushion this blow and also to help them to get back on their feet as quickly as possible, said Harris. The fact of the matter is that St. Elizabeth is the known breadbasket and Manchester is close behind, so based on the hit they have taken, it is going to affect the ready food for the market across the island. He also called on farmers in St. Mary and St. Thomas, who he said have been doing very well in recent times, to step up their game to help minimize the fallout. In the days leading up to the hurricane, Fulton urged the farmers across the island to put measures in place to minimize their losses. Jane Horton took the advice. We moved our animals and the poultry from the areas where they would be affected by the heavy wind and the possible flooding, she said. We also reaped some of the crops that were close to maturity, so those are either in storage or are already in the markets. We earn our livelihood through farming, so we will just have to roll up our sleeves again and start planting crops and rearing animals again. We have learned the survival game over many years, so we are not new to it, she added. In addition to St. Elizabeth and Manchester, the agricultural sector also took hits in St. Catherine, where the Boodles research station lost one of two citrus budwood houses. The station also suffered extensive damage to its commercial crops and the packing shed. In St. Mary and Portland, bananas took a battering, with damage to crops exceeding 80%. UK and the St. Andrew man gone missing while heading to New Kingston. The Matilda's Corner Police in St. Andrew are seeking the public's assistance to locate a man from England and Jamaica who has gone missing in St. Andrew since Tuesday, July 2. He is 49-year-old Dave Wright of a Pilot Walk address in England and Wellington Glades, St. Andrew. Reports from the police are that Wright was last seen heading to Knutsford Express in New Kingston, St. Andrew. His mode of dress then is unknown. All efforts to contact him since then have been unsuccessful. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to contact the Matilda's Corner Police at 876-978-6003, the Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Local charity cites poor public planning for disabled during burial. Jamaica Charity for the Homeless and the Disabled is claiming that government agencies failed to provide shelters that are adequate to assist persons with disabilities during the recent passage of Hurricane Beryl. In a press release, the organization said the impact of Hurricane Beryl has revealed the inadequacies of the Jamaican government agencies in providing accessible and inclusive shelters for persons with disabilities. It said the perceived neglect spans across information dissemination, food distribution, and access to shelters or temporary accommodations. In many cases, shelters were said to have been inaccessible to persons with disabilities. Jamaica Charity for the Homeless and the Disabled Executive Director Cleon Porter said the lack of preparation and accommodation for the vulnerable population is unacceptable and highlights a pressing need for reform. It has become evident that there are three distinct classes of Jamaican people: the rich, the poor, and the disabled. The affluent do not rely on public shelters during hurricanes, leaving the poor and the disabled to bear the brunt of inadequate facilities. Current shelters are not designed to accommodate persons with disabilities, leading to significant disparities in safety and accessibility, Porter said in the release. The organization bemoaned what is cited as a lack of targeted preparation for mentally ill individuals living on the streets and in gullies as being particularly concerning. It said there were many mentally ill persons who have been left on the streets of Kingston and rural parishes throughout the passing of hurricanes and storms year after year. There should have been coordinated efforts led by the Ministry of Health to locate and assist these individuals. Without such measures, many mentally ill persons may have been washed away or left unaccounted for, the release continued. Porter said the first lesson from Hurricane Beryl is clear, in that if direct attention is not given to persons with disabilities, they will be left behind in disaster response efforts. All types of disabilities should be addressed, said the organization, noting that the span was not just visible mobility-related disabilities. The needs of individuals using wheelchairs, those who are blind or have low vision, people using crutches, those who are deaf or hard of hearing, individuals who cannot use their hands, and those with psychosocial disabilities need to all be considered, the organization said. It recommended comprehensive training in disability awareness, rights, inclusion, and accessibility for the National Disaster Committee, Welfare and the Shelter Subcommittee, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and all the parish municipalities. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.